Something unusual happened inside the Social Security Administration this March. And while it didn't make front-page headlines, it sent a quiet signal that policy experts, retirement planners, and federal benefits analysts immediately noticed. If you rely on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, or you're planning to claim benefits soon, this matters more than it might seem at first glance. Because when the SSA makes administrative moves early in the year, especially in March, it often reveals how the agency is preparing for future payments, future COLA adjustments, and future system changes. And right now, the signal they've sent suggests preparation, tightening oversight, and modernization of how benefits are delivered and tracked. Before we go further, if you depend on Social Security or federal benefits, consider subscribing to this channel. The goal here is simple, calm, clear updates without rumors or panic, so you can make confident decisions about your income and retirement. Now let's talk about what actually happened. In early March, the Social Security Administration released internal operational guidance tied to payment accuracy initiatives, identity verification procedures, and administrative budgeting priorities for the remainder of the fiscal year. These updates didn't change benefit amounts directly. Your March payment, April payment, and scheduled deposits remain exactly as planned. But inside federal agencies, signals like this often come before visible changes. Think of it like watching the weather shift before a storm, or before the clouds clear. The preparation comes first. The public announcements follow later. The SSA currently sends monthly payments to more than 71 million Americans. That includes retirees, disabled workers, SSI recipients, and survivors. The system is massive, and even small administrative adjustments can affect how smoothly those payments arrive. Right now, the average Social Security retirement benefit sits just over $1,900 per month. SSDI averages around $1,537 monthly. SSI federal payments are capped near $940 for individuals, depending on eligibility factors. For millions of households, these payments are not supplemental income. They are the foundation of financial stability. That's why any signal from the SSA matters. The March update focused heavily on three areas: payment accuracy, fraud prevention, and processing efficiency. None of those sound dramatic, but together they tell a story. Over the past 2 years, the SSA has faced growing pressure to improve payment tracking after reports of both overpayments and underpayments across certain cases. In some situations, recipients were accidentally overpaid and later asked to repay funds. In others, beneficiaries didn't receive their full eligible amount due to processing delays or outdated records. The agency is trying to reduce both problems at the same time. That balancing act requires system upgrades, staffing adjustments, and new verification procedures, and March appears to be when those efforts accelerated. Another reason this timing matters is the COLA cycle. Every year, long before the public hears about a cost of living adjustment, federal agencies begin evaluating inflation trends, administrative costs, and payment system readiness. These early year operational signals often connect to how prepared the system is for future benefit adjustments. It doesn't mean a change is coming immediately, but it does mean planning is underway, and planning matters when you're talking about Social Security. The Social Security Trust Fund projections still show long-term funding challenges in the 2030s, something policymakers have been discussing for years. That doesn't mean benefits are disappearing. It means agencies like the SSA are under pressure to operate more efficiently, prevent mistakes, and modernize payment systems now, before larger legislative decisions happen. That's exactly what this March signal looks like. Preparation, not reduction, not emergency action. Preparation. Another piece of this involves digital processing improvements. The SSA has been gradually expanding online verification tools, and direct deposit monitoring systems to reduce delays and prevent identity-related payment errors. Many retirees won't notice these changes at all because when the system works correctly, it's invisible. Your payment simply arrives. But behind the scenes, the agency is trying to make sure that continues without interruption as the beneficiary population grows larger each year. More Americans are retiring now than at any point in recent history. That increases workload on the system, increases payment volume, and increases the importance of accuracy. That's why this March signal matters, not because something is wrong, but because the system is adjusting to protect long-term reliability. And for anyone living on a fixed income, reliability is everything. When we look more closely at what the Social Security Administration actually announced in March, the focus becomes clearer. This was not about changing how much you receive. It was about strengthening how payments are calculated, verified, and delivered. One of the biggest areas of attention is payment accuracy. Over the past year, the SSA has increased internal reviews of benefit calculations. These reviews are designed to catch both overpayments and underpayments earlier. Most beneficiaries never experience these issues, but when they happen, they can create real stress, especially for seniors living on fixed income. Imagine receiving a letter saying you were accidentally overpaid 2 years ago and now owe money back. That situation has happened to some beneficiaries across the country, and the agency has faced criticism for how those cases were handled. The March signal shows the SSA is trying to reduce those situations before they start. At the same time, they are also trying to identify underpayments more quickly. In certain cases, retirees who delayed claiming benefits or who had complex work histories did not receive the full amount they were entitled to right away. Correcting those cases requires more precise record checking and faster processing tools. Another key piece of the March update involves identity verification. Fraud prevention has become a growing priority across all federal benefit programs. The SSA is expanding secure verification steps when banking information changes, when new claims are filed, or when account details are updated. For most people, this simply means confirming information through SSA Gov or occasionally responding to an official notice. It does not mean benefits are being restricted. It means the agency is trying to make sure payments go to the correct person every time. Direct deposit reliability is part of this effort as well. More than 99% of Social Security payments are now delivered electronically. The SSA has been upgrading its monitoring systems to detect suspicious changes to bank routing numbers or deposit accounts. These upgrades are designed to prevent payment diversion scams, which unfortunately have increased in recent years. For beneficiaries, the experience should remain simple. Payments still follow the same schedule. If your birthday falls between the 1st and 10th of the month, payments typically arrive on the 2nd Wednesday. Birthdays between the 11th and 20th are paid on the 3rd Wednesday. Birthdays after the 20th are paid on the 4th Wednesday. SSI payments generally arrive on the 1st of the month, unless the date falls on a weekend or holiday. March payments followed that same structure, and April payments will as well. Another reason analysts pay attention to March SSA activity is because this is when early COLA preparation begins internally. The cost of living adjustment is officially announced later in the year, but agencies begin reviewing inflation data months in advance. The Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, the CPIW, is the formula used to determine COLA. Early administrative planning ensures the system can handle adjustments smoothly when they are finalised. Last year's COLA increase helped many retirees keep up with rising costs, but inflation pressures on housing, groceries, and healthcare continue to affect fixed-income households. That's why administrative readiness matters just as much as the percentage increase itself. Medicare premiums are another piece of the puzzle. For many retirees, Medicare Part B premiums are automatically deducted from Social Security checks. When premiums change, the net amount deposited can shift, even if the benefit amount increases. The SSA coordinates closely with Medicare to make sure these adjustments happen correctly and on time. The March signal included coordination planning between these systems to reduce processing delays and prevent incorrect deductions. Budget planning also played a role in this update. The SSA operates with administrative funding approved by Congress, separate from the trust funds that pay benefits. That administrative budget supports staffing, call centers, field offices, and technology systems. In recent years, staffing shortages created longer wait times for phone assistance and in-person appointments. The March operational guidance included resource allocation aimed at improving response times and reducing backlogs. For seniors who have tried calling the SSA and waited on hold for long periods, this kind of administrative adjustment matters in a very real way. Another important detail involves digital account access. The SSA continues encouraging beneficiaries to create and maintain a My Social Security account online. These accounts allow users to review payment history, update direct deposit information, verify earnings records, and receive notices faster. The March update emphasized expanding secure online services, so fewer people need to rely on paper mail or office visits. This modernization effort has been gradual, but it's becoming more central to how the agency operates. Taken together, these March developments don't point to benefit cuts or sudden policy changes. They point to system tightening, improving accuracy, preventing fraud, and preparing infrastructure for future adjustments. And that preparation leads directly to the question most retirees are asking. What does this mean for everyday beneficiaries right now? For most seniors and federal benefit recipients, the immediate impact of these changes is not dramatic, but it is meaningful in everyday life. Let's start with a simple example. Imagine a retired worker in Ohio named Robert. He's 72 years old and receives about $1,920 per month in Social Security retirement benefits. That payment covers his utilities, groceries, and part of his housing costs. For Robert, the most important thing is not whether his benefit increases tomorrow. It's whether his payment arrives on time, every month, without complications. The March SSA signal is largely about protecting that reliability. Now consider someone receiving SSI. Linda, age 68, lives on a fixed federal SSI payment of around $943 per month, plus a small state supplement. Her rent increased this year, and groceries cost more than they did 2 years ago. For someone in Linda's situation, even a short payment delay could mean choosing between essentials. That's why the SSA is focusing on verification accuracy and processing improvements. The goal is to reduce situations where payments are temporarily interrupted due to outdated banking information, identity verification issues, or record mismatches. Another example involves SSDI recipients. David, age 59, receives SSDI benefits averaging about $1,540 per month after a workplace injury forced him to retire early. Occasionally, SSDI beneficiaries receive review letters confirming continued eligibility or requesting updated information. These notices can feel stressful, but they are part of routine program oversight. The March administrative updates aim to make those reviews faster and clearer, reducing confusion and preventing unnecessary payment pauses. One topic that has worried many beneficiaries recently is overpayment recovery. In past years, some recipients were notified that they had been overpaid, sometimes due to calculation errors that were not their fault. When that happens, the SSA typically works out repayment plans that deduct a small portion from future checks. The agency has been under pressure to improve how these cases are handled, and the March signal suggests stronger monitoring systems designed to catch errors earlier. That means fewer surprises later. Direct deposit reliability is another area being strengthened. Because nearly all benefits are now paid electronically, the SSA is improving systems that detect unauthorized bank account changes. If something unusual is flagged, the agency can temporarily pause a change request until identity confirmation is completed. While that might sound inconvenient, it helps prevent stolen payments, which can take months to recover. Most beneficiaries will never notice these safeguards working in the background, but they matter. Another important piece of the real-life impact involves state and federal support programs that work alongside Social Security. For example, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, continues to provide grocery assistance to millions of seniors. Eligibility rules vary by state, but many Social Security recipients qualify even if they assume they do not. Medicare savings programs also help cover Part B premiums and out-of-pocket medical costs for lower-income beneficiaries. These programs can significantly increase monthly financial stability, even though they're often underused, simply because people don't realize they qualify. Property tax relief programs in states like Texas, Florida, and Pennsylvania provide additional support for older homeowners. These programs are separate from Social Security, but can make a meaningful difference in fixed income budgeting. The reason this matters in the context of the March SSA signal is simple. Financial stability for retirees often comes from multiple programs working together, not just one monthly check. And that brings us to budgeting. When administrative updates happen inside Social Security, the best response for beneficiaries is not panic, it's awareness. Reviewing your monthly expenses, keeping emergency savings when possible, and making sure your SSA records are accurate can prevent problems later. Small steps matter. Checking your direct deposit information once or twice a year. Opening and reading official SSA letters promptly. Making sure your mailing address is current. Creating or reviewing your online SSA account. These actions reduce the chance of delays or verification issues. It's also important to remember that administrative tightening usually means the system is being strengthened, not reduced. The SSA is trying to deliver payments more reliably to a growing population of retirees. Every day, about 10,000 Americans reach retirement age, and that trend will continue for years. A larger beneficiary population means the system must become more efficient to keep payments steady. That's what this March signal reflects, not a crisis, not a reduction in benefits, a system adjusting to long-term demand. And that naturally leads to the bigger question many people are thinking about: the future of Social Security itself. As we look ahead, the bigger picture of Social Security becomes clearer. The system is not disappearing, and monthly benefits are not suddenly stopping. What we are seeing instead is preparation, the Social Security Administration strengthening how payments are managed, as more Americans retire and rely on these programs. You may have heard discussions about the Social Security Trust Fund and projections for the 2030s. Those conversations happen regularly in Washington, and they often sound more alarming than the reality. Even in the most widely discussed projections, Social Security would still pay the majority of scheduled benefits. Historically, when adjustments were needed, Congress acted to protect retirees who depend on these payments the most. That's why it's important to separate three different things. Administrative updates, like the March signal, improve how the system runs. Cost of living adjustments help benefits keep pace with inflation. And legislative changes, which take time and public debate, determine long-term funding solutions. These are different processes, and they don't happen overnight. For now, payments continue on schedule. The SSA is modernizing systems, improving accuracy, and focusing on reliability so that monthly deposits arrive the way retirees expect them to. That reliability is what matters most to households living on fixed income. If there's one practical takeaway from this March update, it's this. Staying informed is one of the strongest forms of financial protection. Reviewing your social security information once in a while, keeping your banking details updated, and paying attention to official notices can prevent small issues from becoming stressful ones. And remember, your financial security is not defined by headlines or rumors. It's built on understanding how your benefits work, planning carefully, and using the support programs available to you. If you're comfortable sharing, comment below with the state you're watching from or any questions you have about your benefits. Many viewers learn from each other's experiences, and your question could help someone else feel more confident. The March signal from the SSA isn't a warning. It's a reminder that the system is still working, still adapting, and still focused on delivering the benefits millions of Americans have earned. Your payments matter. Your stability matters. And with clear information, you can move forward with confidence.